Welcome to Underworld UK, where Britain's darkest stories are brought to light. From the gritty streets of gangland London, Liverpool, Manchester and Birmingham, from Curtis Warren to the Cray twins to county lines and modern-day true crime, we cover everything. Bringing you new videos every week. Subscribe so that you'll be notified when the next video is put out.
Brute bludgeoned Soham monster Ian Huntley fighting for life after being battered unconscious with metal pole in vicious jail attack. Huntley, 52, was left lying in a pool of blood on his prison wing and rushed to hospital after he was targeted by another inmate at around 9 AM. Sources said the double child killer's condition was touch and go after the frenzied attack by a vengeful lag with a metal pole, reportedly in a prison workshop. Durham constabulary said a suspect, a male prisoner in his 40s, had been identified following the attack. He's not been arrested at this stage, but remains in detention within the prison, added a spokesman. Huntley is being treated at Newcastle's Royal Victoria Infirmary and he's under armed guard. The beating at tough HMP Frankland, County Durham, comes after paedo rocker Ian Watkins was killed in an attack at Wakefield Prison last October. Huntley's vile crimes have led to fellow inmates attacking him behind bars at least 3 times before. In 2010, armed robber Damien Fowlks also slashed Huntley's throat in Frankland, putting him in hospital. Murderer Mark Hobson threw boiling water over him in Wakefield Prison in 2005. A source told a famous media outlet, "It was absolute chaos and Huntley was in a terrible state. I'm amazed someone was able to get anywhere near him because he's usually really closely protected. They must have timed it when he wasn't with prison officers and must have used a weapon to injure him so severely." Huntley's vile crimes have led to fellow inmates attacking him behind bars at least twice before. In May 2018, he said that a violent prisoner armed with a makeshift shank knife tried to kill him in his cell. In a prison recording leaked to The Sun, the Soham killer says the attacker came in with a razor blade on a toothbrush. Details of the alleged incident have never been made public. Huntley explains on tape, "There was an attempt on my life last year. I have no problems telling you his name. It was a prisoner who tried to kill me, a guy called Simon Maskery. He came into my cell armed with a weapon and tried to cut me throat. I managed to kick him in the chest and then to the stomach. I took the weapon off him and he was on the floor. At that point, one of my friends turned up and I said, 'He's got a weapon,' just as this Simon was getting back to his feet. This Simon then looked at him, then looked back at me, and then my friend grabbed him from behind. Shortly afterwards, staff arrived." Huntley almost died in a previous blade attack when prisoner Damien Fowlks tried to cut his throat with a shank in 2010. Huntley had 21 stitches, which left him with a scar from his jugular to the other side of his windpipe. He says, "It was 2 millimeters away from my jugular. The only thing I could think of was get a message to my family to say I was okay." Murderer Mark Hobson also threw boiling water over him in Wakefield Prison in 2005. A prison service spokesperson said a prisoner is receiving treatment at HMP Frankland on Thursday morning. It will be inappropriate to comment further while police investigate. Durham police added that an inmate has suffered serious injuries after being attacked in the prison. A spokesman for Durham Constabulary said a police presence is currently in HMP Frankland in Durham today. The spokesman for North East Ambulance Service said, "We received a call at 9:23 AM to reports of an incident at HMP Frankland in County Durham. We dispatched 2 ambulance crews to the scene and requested support from the Great North Air Ambulance Service. One patient was transported to hospital by road." The Soham killer is serving life in HMP Frankland for the murders of 10-year-old girls Holly Wells and Jessica Chapman. The 52-year-old carried out the double child killing in Soham, Cambridgeshire in 2002. School pals Holly and Jessica vanished after leaving a family barbecue in Soham to go and buy some sweets. But school caretaker Huntley lured the girls into his home and murdered them before disposing of their bodies in a ditch. He later returned to the scene and tried to set them on fire. Police and the local community rallied together in a huge search effort to find the children. The bodies were not found until more than a week later near an airbase 12 miles from Soham. Suspicions were raised after the school caretaker gave detailed interviews to the press about the girls, and he appeared to take an unusual interest in the case. He gave a detailed account when asked how the girls might react to a stranger in one interview. Chillingly, he described how Ollie would likely go quietly, but Jessica would put up a real fight and a real struggle. Journalists raised their concerns to the police after feeling something was off with his responses. He knew how they'd react because that's how they reacted when he killed him, one reporter said later. Locals also came forward with information about the caretaker after he'd seen him on the news. Huntley, one of Britain's most infamous killers, was convicted in 2003 after pleading not guilty. His then fiancée, Maxine Carr, a teaching assistant at Holly and Jessica's school in the Cambridgeshire town, had given him a false alibi. She turned on Huntley as he sat in the dock during his murder trial, describing him as that thing in the box. She was granted a lifelong anonymity order in 2005, which protects her new identity indefinitely. School caretaker Huntley has continually failed to give the grieving families the closure they need. In court, he claimed both 10-year-olds died accidentally, lying that Ollie drowned in his bath and that he inadvertently suffocated Jessica while trying to stifle her screams. Yet in tapes recorded behind bars in 2018, the beast confessed to deliberately killing Jessica to stop her raising the alarm. He still insisted Ollie's death was an accident. It comes after we reported how Huntley had his red Manchester United-style shirt seized by jail bosses after the Sun revealed he was strutting around in it. Officers stormed into his cell and confiscated the top, which has a white number 10 on the back in an apparent sick reference to his schoolgirl victims in 2002. Lags had complained about the top, similar to ones worn by 10-year-old Holly and Jessica on the day he murdered him in 2002. Guards also seized framed pictures of Huntley with his ex-car, plus other items including DVDs. The disappearance and murders of 10-year-old schoolgirls Holly Wells and Jessica Chapman were crimes that shocked the nation. The two best friends went missing in Soham Cams on August 4, 2002, when they went off to buy sweets during a family barbecue. The pair were lured into school caretaker Huntley's home as he claimed his partner, Maxine Carr, who worked at the girls' school, was in the property. He then murdered him in cold blood. Images of the missing girls' faces were soon plastered over every national and local newspaper, and during a desperate national appeal to find them, Huntley gave TV interviews and took part in search parties. Former classroom assistant Maxine Carr gave Huntley a false alibi, which she stuck to for 2 weeks until it emerged she was at a nightclub with another man of the time. Ollie and Jessica's remains were discovered in a ditch at an airbase 14 miles away at Mildenhall, Suffolk on August 18, 2002. Huntley was convicted in 2003 of the girls' murders and serving life in high security HMP Frankland in Durham. He won't be considered for release until 2042. Carr, charged with perverting the course of justice, was released in 2004 with a new identity. In March 2020, it was reported that she'd gone into hiding after a new identity was exposed.
Good morning from Yummy BTV, or good afternoon when this video reaches you. Talk about setting the cat amongst the pigeons, so to speak, and be careful what you wish for. So speak, shall we say, and it shall happen in some capacity. The video this morning on Maxine Carr and her life now, as explained in the video. And then a couple of hours later, the dramatic news coming in that we predicted at some stage it would happen. We have to stay professional a little bit on this one. That it is no hoax this time. That it is near enough, I say, the end for the Soham child killer, Ian Huntley, at HMP Category A Prison, Frankland, right? And more on that, because there's one report that you lot seen. I've got 2 other reports. Now listen to this. We reported that they took his Xbox away in recent times. We knew that he was moved off the twos, where he was with a lot of old people, probably the only set of people that he has ever been allowed to be around, right? In my submissions, they moved him down onto the ones. All seemed all right, because down in that spot, as we reported in the video about the Xbox, when they took his privileges away, it's for even older men where they're in wheelchairs and they can't go up and down the stairs. That was where he was residing, right? Who have they let over there? Right, wait for the full breaking news to come in, because it would be only surmising who has run up on Ian Huntley and absolutely annihilated, stabbed him, cut him, and bashed him to smithereens. And I'm telling you that I believe that he's not going to make it. And, you know, for whatever way is the best way to describe this, and we've talked about others on Yami B TV, like Southport, like thing, you know, we don't incite violence on Yami B TV, you lot, but we're allowed to predict, and this one was predicted a real long time ago. But I will set the cat amongst the pigeons, and it is that they let somebody onto that wing where he is, or something out of the ordinary. The only thing that I can tell you at this moment in time is whether the person got put on there and was in the same bracket as Huntley, where he has to stay around the personnel on that wing in Frankland, or whether it was like we always predicted it would happen to the Southport killer. The door, the gate was left open, and a lad from way back in the day, who's been away years and years and years, has put Huntley to rest. As far as I'm concerned, I can't see them. These injuries are really severe. There's absolute no doubt about this, right? So that's the best that I could do on this one. But I had to run and go and leave my lunch to come and do this video. But have a blessed day. But you want my verdict? I think it is the end of child killer Ian Huntley.